Hey, what's up guys, it's AndreOth here, bringing you guys another video. And in this video I'm going to be showing you guys how I made an M24 UK drill type beat. Let's get into it. So you guys, obviously with any drill beat, we made sure the tempo was around 140. That's the tempo you want your project to be at if you want to do a drill beat, because most drill beats fall under that tempo. So yeah, we started the beat off with the melody. I think I just created this melody with a piano in Logic first. So I was just messing around with the piano, coming up with different chord progressions and melodies and stuff like that. I think I dragged in like a MIDI file from like a drum kit that I found, and I just started messing around with it and switching up the different chord progressions and stuff like that. And I ended up coming up with a melody that I really liked. So then I went into Alchemy just to find a different synth, a different sound, instead of just using a piano all the time, so I wanted to find a different sound, and I found this preset in Alchemy called BRYSON, and it sounded really good. I really liked how it sounded, just had that gritty kind of vibe to it. And then I added halftime to it, which is almost like a must whenever you do a drill beat. Obviously you don't have to use it, but it just instantly gives that drill dark kind of vibe to it. So I added halftime to it. I really liked how it ended up sounding, and yeah, it ended up sounding like this. So you guys, then after that I wanted to come up with a counter melody just to go with the main melody. I was really in the mood for a flute. I felt like a flute would go really well with this beat, so I came up with this really good flute melody. I liked how it sounded, but it just didn't really sound gritty enough. It didn't really sound dark enough. So obviously I did the one thing that you always do if you want a darker sound: you halftime it. So I put some halftime on the flute melody, and it ended up sounding literally perfect, and it went perfectly with the main melody. So yeah, the flute melody sounded good. I think I added some reverb to it, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I really liked how the flute melody ended up sounding, and yeah, it ended up sounding like this. And if you hear that with everything else, the beat should sound like this. So you guys, then after that I then moved on to the drums when I was finished with the melodies. And as usual, I always start my drums off with some snares. So I found these snares. These are some snares that I pretty much saved in this little preset drum kit that I have in Logic. So whenever I go in Logic and I do a drill beat, I go into this preset, and it has all the kicks and the snares and stuff that I normally use. And this snare is literally perfect. They're using a lot of drill beats, and it's literally just a perfect drill beat snare. So yeah, I was obviously happy with the snares. My favorite snare to use on a drill beat. So then I came up with a simple drill kind of snare pattern. I use kind of like a similar pattern whenever I do a drill beat, but I like to kind of change it up every now and again. So yeah, with the snare pattern, I just did the standard snare pattern, but I just added a snare or two in there just for added bounce really. But yeah, I was happy with how the snare pattern sounded, and it ended up sounding like this. And then when you hear that paired with the rest of the beat should sound like this. So you guys, then after that, when I was finished with the snares, I then moved on to the hi-hats as usual. I normally use like a drill or like a trap sounding kind of hi-hat, something that's rattly, has that high end, just for that drill kind of, even that trap kind of sound. I found this hi-hat from one of the UK drill kits that I bought. I forgot what kit I even got it from, to be honest. I think it might have been, I don't even remember. I think it might have been Ghosty's kit, but I don't even know. But yeah, I found this hi-hat. I really like the sound of it. It kind of had that high, kind of abrupt sound to it, which is good. They normally kind of have that sound whenever you hear a UK drill beat. But yeah, I was happy with the hi-hats, so I just came up with a hi-hat pattern. I normally go for the standard drill kind of hi-hat pattern, and then I add variation to it. So I add some hi-hat rolls and stuff like that, and that's what I did with this hi-hat pattern. I just had that standard kind of drill bounce, but just added a little bit more to it just to make it sound more interesting. And yeah, the hi-hat pattern ended up sounding like this. And then when you put everything all together, the whole beat should come together like this. So you guys, then after I was finished with the hi-hats, the drums kind of had that bounce, it kind of had that flow. So then I moved on to the kicks, and then with the kicks, I use these kicks on a lot of drill beats because it just goes perfectly with literally every drill beat that I do. Like everybody has that sound, that kick especially, that just goes well with like every beat. So yeah, this is this kick for me. This is a kick that I just got from Splice. I just downloaded some random Splice pack and it had this kick in it and it just went perfectly. So yeah, obviously that was in the drill kick kind of preset that I had. So yeah, I like the kick. It was punchy, it was hard hitting, and that's what you want in a drill beat. You need the kick to be hitting. And yeah, so I just came up with this very simple kick pattern. It had that drill kind of bounce to it, had that minimal bounce to it, and I did add some variation to it. So every 4 to 8 bars I try to switch up the kicks and stuff like that, but I try not to do too much. And yeah, I was happy with how the kick pattern was sounding, and yeah, the kicks ended up sounding like this. And then when you pair that with everything else, the whole beat should end up sounding like this. So you guys, after that, I was pretty much finished with the drums, the kicks, the hi-hats and the snares and stuff were all sorted. I just wanted to add a little extra to it. There's an extra kind of finishing touch. So I found this FX, right? It's like this gunshot kind of sounding sound effect, and Ghosty uses it in a lot of his beats, right? If you guys hear it and you hear like UK drill beats or UK drill songs, like, you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, I found this effects that you hear in a lot of drill songs and I had to put it on my beat because it just goes well. It's just something about it, like it's quite subtle, but it just adds that kind of drill kind of atmosphere to a drill beat. And these small little details are quite important when you kind of do a drill beat, because it just adds to it. It just adds to the vibe. And yeah, the sound effect really did that. So yeah, it's just this very simple sound effect. I played it like every probably 8 bars or something like that. And yeah, if you guys hear it, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, the sound effect sounded like this. And if you hear that with everything else, the beat should sound like this. So you guys, then after that, the beat was pretty much done, apart from one last thing, which is the most important thing, arguably the most important thing on a drill beat, which is the bass. Yeah, so obviously we have to make sure we have some hard hitting, powerful 808s, bass line, whatever you want to call it, bass, whatever. It needs to be powerful. And one thing that I always say with the bass in a UK drill beat, it just needs to have presence. It can't just be in the background. It can't just be subtle like on like trap beats and stuff like that. It needs to be in the forefront. It needs to have presence. It needs to have character, you know what I mean? So I have this 808, this bass. I always say it's like this one girl bass. Is from her Spice pack, but yeah, the bass is literally just perfect. It has that grimy sound. It has a lot of sustain on it, which is very important with a drill beat. You don't want a little bass that just hits and it's abrupt. You want something that has sustain, so you can do these glides and stuff like that. And this bass is literally just perfect. It has all of those things that you need for a perfect bass in a drill beat. But yeah, anyways, I just went into sampler. I clicked on the bass, the same bass that I normally use in a drill beat, and yeah, I just came up with a simple bass line. Whenever I go about, the way I go about doing the bass for UK drill beats, I do the bass notes first. So I'm probably do like 3 or 4 notes per every 4 bars or something like that. So I just do just the basic notes that just match the tonal notes, the bass notes of the main melody. So I just do the bass notes, just a couple of notes per 4 bars or whatever, and then I add some glides and stuff like that, and then I start adding to it. So that's what I did. I just came up with a basic bass line first, then I started adding to it, started adding glides and stuff like that. And I didn't want it to be too busy. I didn't want to do too much, because some beats, you know, you want to do a lot, but with other beats you don't want to do too much. And this beat, it was one of them beats where I feel like the melody was busy enough, like you didn't really want to do too much with the bass line. And yeah, that's how I felt with this beat. So the bass line, I kept it relatively simple, added some glides here and there, but I liked how it ended up sounding in the end, and it ended up sounding like this. And then when you hear that paired with the rest of the beat should sound like this. So yeah guys, that was pretty much it. That was every single component there was to this beat, and that was the whole process that went into making this beat. The only thing I had to do after that will structure the beat and mix the beat, and that's exactly what I did. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did like the video though, please hit the like button down below and subscribe for more, because I have way more videos like this coming out every single week. If you guys want to purchase any beats from me, you can click the link in the description down below, because I have an offer going on for 10 free beats. And if you guys want, you can follow me on Twitter, you can follow me on Instagram for all the latest updates. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace. Woo, that was perfect. Never. So run.